Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Star Wars Now, and in this video I'm going to be going over The Bad Batch Episode 11, Devil's Deal, Easter eggs, and all-out review. So let's get into it. First of all, spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. Now, if you're still here, you've seen the episode already. So, as you know, the Bad Batch were in there for like 30 seconds. So, is this a Bad Batch episode, or is this just a Star Wars Rebels episode? Because it felt like a Star Wars Rebels episode. The Bad Batch were in there for like 30 seconds. So, this felt like a Star Wars Rebels episode. It mostly had Hera Syndulla, spoiler alert again. And, so, yeah, it mostly had Hera Syndulla, Cham, and then Omega and the Bad Batch are featured for like 30 seconds. So, let's get right into it. So first, the episode title is Devil's Deal. Now, I didn't really, like in last episode, I couldn't really find any significance with this, but it could have something to do with that they made a deal with the Bad Batch, and that brought them to a devil. Basically, Rampart's kind of like the devil of this deal. So, I guess that could mean that Rampart is the devil, and they had a deal, so Devil's Deal, I don't know. Next episode makes a little more sense, because at the end of the episode, there was a cliffhanger. I'm not going to go over that yet, but next episode is titled Rescue on Ryloth, so I'm sure if you guys have seen it already, you know what that means. But now let me just get into the rest of the stuff. So first of all, it opens on Ryloth, where Admiral Rampart is now under control of Ryloth, as he's under control of most of the other systems. Now, at first we thought that the main villain in the series was going to be Tarkin, but it turns out Tarkin's more of just like a Emperor Palpatine kind of guy. He shows up sometimes, but most of the time he just leaves his dirty work to Admiral Rampart. So, in this episode at the beginning, obviously they've taken control of Ryloth. Now, some systems that the Empire is taking control of are happy that the Empire is there, like Pantora that we saw in episode 4. They were happy that the Empire was there. And then some systems are not happy, like Raxus Secundus that we saw in last episode. They're not happy that the Empire is there. And Ryloth is one of those places that are not happy that the Empire is there. So their senator that was featured in the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, Senator Orn Free Taa, who actually didn't like Cham Syndulla, I'm pretty sure, in one of the episodes of the Clone Wars. So he's with the Empire, and I really hate that guy because he's just very selfish in this episode. He mostly just he looks out for himself. He claims that he cares about his people, but he really doesn't. So he's in it with the Empire. Now, in this episode, as I thought in the last episode, we get to see Cham Syndulla and Hera Syndulla. We also get to see Hera's mother, which was never featured at all, unless she was featured in the Clone Wars, and I forgot about that. Well, then that's her first appearance. So at the beginning, now Cham Syndulla is with the Empire. The only reason he's with the Empire is because he wants his people to stop fighting. He wants them to kind of rest. They've fought for 3 years now. The Clone Wars was 3 years long. So they fought for 3 years, and now he just wants his people to be happy and take some peace. And he's with the Empire because he owes the Republic something, because the Republic have saved his life many of times. So he wants to align with the Empire just because he was with the Republic. So now he's with the Empire. So at the beginning, his people are hesitant, obviously, about trusting the Empire. And he assures them that yada yada, the Empire are here to protect us and whatever, and he doesn't want them to fight anymore. So he has the best of intentions, unlike Senator Taa. So you can see Crosshair in it. Now at the beginning, Crosshair is wearing his helmet, but as you see later, he does have a bit of scars behind his head, and now he's pretty much shaved bald. He just has a bit of hair on the top. So it looks like he's not damaged that bad, but he's, obviously a bit injured. So after that, it then cuts to a scene where Hera and Chopper, so yeah, Chopper is featured in this episode. Now, I did not see that coming. I thought that Chopper only found Chopper later, but apparently she found Chopper around the time of the Clone Wars. I'm probably forgetting something from Star Wars Rebels where they mention that, but you actually can't see the Y-Wing that she pulls Chopper out of in the background of one of the scenes earlier. So now back to what she was doing. So her and Chopper are spying on the Imperial refinery, which her father is working at with the Empire. So it's not a very good public image to have your father working at a refinery and you're spying on it. So she's doing a favor for her uncle Gobi Glee, which I don't know if it's Cham's brother or Elena's brother. I don't know how that works. But and then she gets caught by the clone Captain Howzer, spelled Howzer. So this clone, now I actually found that this clone actually had a bit of humanity. So like all the clones are just following orders blindly. Well, this clone, he actually, so as you see,
I'm in a tough spot, Cham. Between us, things are a little tense at the moment. I won't report this, but it can't happen again.
I assure you it won't.
here, he actually says that he's not going to report that he saw Hera at the refinery spying. So he's actually kind of nice. And you see at the end of the episode that he does have a bit of hesitation when they say hunt Hera down. Spoiler alert there, but you have probably already seen this episode. So he does have a bit, he does not want to hurt Hera at all and doesn't want to go against Cham, but he kind of has to follow orders. Now, here's a question that I actually thought of while filming it right now. It's that if a clone wasn't around, so like in episode 2, we did see Cut. He obviously didn't execute Order 66 because he didn't hear the words, but if a clone wasn't near a Jedi, did they also execute Order 66? Because Howzer seems to not be affected by the inhibitor chip. I'm not saying that he removed it or anything, obviously not that, but maybe he wasn't around a Jedi, so he didn't execute Order 66. I don't know. Maybe I'm just coming up with weird theories, and they mentioned this already, and I wasn't listening. But whatever. So yeah, Howzer's trying to be as nice as possible, not reporting Hera to Admiral Rampart and everybody else. Now, I did not see it coming that we were going to see Hera in the Bad Batch. So first we see Kanan, now we see Hera. Now they don't meet up until later. I'm pretty sure there's a book on that. It was Dawn of the Padawan or something. Now that book, that's supposed to explain how they meet up, but I wonder if they're going to retcon that and make up a new way how they met up somehow in the Bad Batch. So we've already seen both of those characters, so this would be a good time for them to meet up somehow maybe. But whatever. So next we see that the Senator Ta, he thinks that Cham is going to betray him and that he is just aligned with the people, and that as long as the people think that he's a good guy, they're going to align with him. So I'm guessing that his plan is that, well, obviously he dies later in the episode, but his plan probably would have been to make Cham seem like he's a bad guy so that the people will align with the Empire. That would have been a good plan, but I guess Rampart has different plans. So now Hera is going with her uncle Gobi to go get weapons because the Empire is confiscating all of the people's weapons because they don't want them to fight anymore. So now he's going to get weapons, and guess who's giving them the weapons? The Bad Batch. I was actually worried in this episode that we weren't going to see the Bad Batch because this episode was mostly just set up for the next episode. So I was actually worried that we weren't going to see the Bad Batch, but we did for like 30 seconds. So they travel to one of the moons of Ryloth, which I don't think we see in the Clone Wars or Rebels or something, unless that was in the episode. I don't know. So they travel there, and the Bad Batch, surprise, surprise, they're there. And they do mention, so Hera starts talking to Omega. Now, Hera seems to have a feeling for the skies, even though she's never really flown, because she's the one that flies them there, but she's never done landings or anything. She seems to think that there's a feeling for the sky, and Omega's never flown either, because obviously she's a bit young to fly. She's way younger than Hera, and Tech she mentions in the episode that Tech doesn't want her to fly until she can recite all the manual or whatever. So yeah, then they talk a bit about the ship, and her favorite spot of the ship is the gunner position, which is her room, unless, like she mentions, they're not getting chased by the Empire. So the Bad Batch then delivered the weapons to her uncle Gobi Glee. And so then I thought that the Bad Batch were going to follow them to the planet and start fighting, but turns out, nope, nothing. So they go back to the planet, and Rampart knew where they were going because earlier, I forgot to mention, but Crosshair, he put a tracking beacon on their ship. So now that tracking beacon is actually the same type of tracking beacon that Obi-Wan used in Attack of the Clones to track Slave One. And that ship did have a similar resemblance to Slave One. So that was a slight reference to Attack of the Clones. But when they land, well, they don't really land. Crosshair shoots them out of the sky and they kind of crash land. Rampart lands in, well, not Rampart yet, all the specialized clones land in a gunship, which you can see throughout the Clone Wars, obviously. And then Rampart lands in a clone turbo tank, which you can see throughout the Clone Wars. And you can see on a Rogue One, a modified clone turbo tank, which is what Jyn Erso is traveling in until the rebellion rescues her. So yeah, they get captured and put in the clone turbo tank, but not before Chopper alerts Hera's mom, Eleni, and Cham that Hera's captured and Gobi's captured. So then they mount a rescue, and you can actually see them on Blurg. So that's basically their transport. Cham mentions in the Clone Wars that they're faster than the BARC speeders, which you can also see in this episode. You can also see BARC speeders, and at the beginning you can hear the noise of the BARC speeders, and it does sound a lot like the ones from Return of the Jedi and a lot of other Star Wars content. It does sound a lot like those speeders. So now they mount a daring rescue on Blurgs, and so Cham and his other Twi'leks start shooting the BARC speeders down. So they just have the clone turbo tank to deal with, and Crosshair. Rampart sends Crosshair to go to the other ships because they weren't just importing weapons from just the Bad Batch. They had multiple contacts which they were importing weapons from. So Rampart sends Crosshair to go stop some of the other ones. So now they mount a daring rescue to rescue Hera. And at the end, after a lot of fighting, Rampart tells Hauser to stand down.
Hold them off until reinforcements get here.
No, it's too late for that. Tell them we surrender.
Surrender? What are you doing?
Keeping us alive, sir.
Because Hauser's the only trooper left. So that could mean something. I'm thinking maybe that the Bad Batch could remove Hauser's inhibitor chip, but that's very unlikely. So they then pretend to surrender, but they were really waiting for reinforcements. So then he gets Crosshair to shoot Senator Ta and try to frame Cham for shooting Senator Ta to get his people to go against him. So then after, right when they're about to escape, Elena tells Chopper to drive away with Hera and escape. So they were trying to rescue Hera, but in the process they got captured. So that's a problem. So now, obviously this episode, it didn't really have a lot of Easter eggs because this wasn't really a Bad Batch episode. It was mostly just like a Rebels episode, like a Rebels 2.0 episode. But that was all the Easter eggs that I found, which were probably like 5 Easter eggs in this episode. The next episode is called Rescue on Ryloth, which you could probably tell what that means now. I'm guessing that because Hera knows who the Bad Batch are now and Omega, she's going to contact them using one of Gobi's contacts. And they're going to rescue her parents. But I think in the process, Eleni is going to die. Hera's mom is going to die because they do mention in Star Wars Rebels that they mention that she has died. So I'm guessing that she's probably going to die sometime here soon. And maybe we will see Hera and Kanan reunite again. But that would have to be retconned because I'm pretty sure there was a comic, Dawn of the Jedi, so that would have to be retconned. And so yeah, that's all the Easter eggs that I found. Thanks for Mazrio for probably watching this video, and rest in peace, Mazrio. Your channel was nice while it lasted. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So be it, Jedi. Huh?